And joining us now on set in Pittsburgh, where I guess he was pretty good as a player here. Rod Woodson, Hall of Famer. Your resume is insane. When I'm just looking through some Super Bowl champion, check. Defensive Player of the Year, check. 6-time first team All-Pro, check. 11-time Pro Bowler, check. All-decade team in the 90s, 75th anniversary team, 100th anniversary team. If I told you you can only have one of those on your ZipRecruiter resume, which one would it be?
You left one out.
Oh.
And that would probably be the having the most interception pick sixes in the history of football.
Okay, that's fascinating. Why is that the number one thing on the resume?
I mean, it's obviously we play collectively, but it's an individual part of it, right? So when you go to the Pro Bowl, it's an individual part of it, even though you do play inside of the team. But getting pick sixes, for the defense, it becomes the offense for us. And then when you can get interceptions and score, the probability of you winning games increases for the team in general.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's when you think about the person who has the most in one season, most interceptions in one season, in Night Train Lane, he has 14. Shoot, I thought I was going to get 14 one year in '93 when I won the Defensive Player of the Year. I had 6 in my first 7 games. I got 1 the rest of the year.
Wow. Well, it's because they probably stopped throwing you. They stopped throwing you, I'm sure.
Well, I don't know if they stopped throwing to me, but I didn't catch all of them. I know that.
Man, what is it about the Pittsburgh Steelers defensive backs? I know this is an organization that prides itself on the defensive side of the ball, but you got Mel Blount, you got yourself, you got Donnie Shell, you got Troy Polamalu. What is it about defensive backs in Pittsburgh? What does that mean to be a part of that fraternity?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think Mel Blount is the best corner to ever lace him up, by far. Like, I mean, I got much credit for him. When you make a rule, the 5-yard truck rule, is because of Mel. So, I mean, when you make a rule for one individual, because he was just smashing people. And I'm 6'1". I thought I was a big dude. I remember sitting in the locker room, I see these big old boots come and sit in front of my face, and I stand up, and I'm like, oh, that's Mel Blount. So I stood up. Shoot, Mel Blount was still way up
He
here.
kept going.
I'm like, wait, you a corner? Like, how'd you play? Man, how'd you play corner? You had to be able to run. It's like, yeah, I could run. But, I mean, he was just jamming them down all the way down the field. They were like, okay, this is unfair. This dude is too big, too long. Nobody can get by him. 5-yard chuck. You can't touch them at the 5 yards.
Unbelievable. Well, whether it's individual players and their greatness or the championships, the Pittsburgh Steelers obviously have a rich history of excellence when it comes to football. We always hear the standard is the standard.
That's right.
In your opinion, Rod, what is the standard? Define that for us.
I mean, when I came into the league, the backups were vets, 6-, 7-year vets. My roommate, year 1, was Donnie Shell on away games. So you didn't think he talked to me about being a pro's pro, on the field, off the field, doing everything the right way, not being selfish. Like, I mean, consistently, my first 5 years was Chuck Noll's last 5 years. And Chuck was just he was more about being a better man outside of football than being on the field. I mean, on the field, he was going to work the snot out of us. But once we stepped away from that, we had to be good in the community. And, if you don't adhere to that standard, you're not here that long. And I think that's the key. Like, when you're around those individuals, when you're around the Mel Blounts, Mean Joe Green was our defensive line coach, and Mean Joe was mean. The dude was mean.
Lived up to the name.
Yes, because he scared me. Like, I wasn't scared of too many people. But, Tony Dungy was our defensive back coach, right? Yeah. And our D coordinator when I first got here. And Tony doesn't yell at anybody.
No, he's not.
Right? Yeah. And our room is here. D-line room is here. We had the projectors back in the day, the 8mm projectors when I first came in. You can hear them things go against the wall. Pow! Me and Joe was throwing the machine against the wall. The guy. And so when he said something to you, you adhered to what he was going to say because he made you a little nervous.
We're talking with Hall of Famer and Super Bowl champion and all-time pick 6 leader, Rod Woodson, here on Unsportsmanlike. I have to change my intro, Rod. I have to do that now. I also want to intro you with this, and we will get back to the Steelers and Pittsburgh in general, but the NFL Alumni Health is launching a new initiative called Health Lives Here in partnership with Tolo Health. Can you explain what this is and why specifically you're involved?
Yeah, it's a national partnership that that they're having for prevention. And I think the biggest thing for early awareness, bringing up practical wellness plans to the masses. And if you think about, first of all, the NFL Alumni Health is a critical piece to what retired players can go to and find how to live a better life today before anything else happens. And it's the same thing with Tolo Health. And then they have a product inside of that called Forset that's going to, I think, will be a game changer. And it's going to help when people try to lose weight, especially O-linemen, D-linemen, after they get done playing, but they lose muscle mass. And it's going to help them not lose the muscle mass on those critical moments.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for your work with that. We former players, we really appreciate that. Rod, I want to ask you a question about your former team, one of your former teams, the Raiders. They're on the clock right now. They've got the first overall pick. Everybody believes that they're going to take Fernando Mendoza. What are reasonable expectations for the Raiders with a new head coach and a new quarterback and resetting the face of the franchise?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've been a Raider fan since I've been 9 years old. I played for the Powell Raiders in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I mean, back in the day, they were one of the best teams. We only had 3 channels to watch, right? And they're one of the best teams, so I get to see them all the time. So you got to hope that they can bring back the winning ways, right? That mindset, that Al Davis had, that can consistently put some good teams on the field. And if Mendoza comes in, obviously, when I came into the league, most first rounders set for several years.
Yes.
To learn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? In today's game is so young, right? It's so young. And these guys they need to play right away. So if you're a first round pick, you're playing right away. And they don't get the time that we got. So obviously I started, but I watched a lot of guys. You think about a lot of great, especially quarterbacks, a lot of great quarterbacks who were backups for several years to learn the game. He's going to be thrown right in, right? If he's that pick. And you got to hope that he can keep learning. Because I think the difference between everybody's talented. Everybody gets drafted is talented. They got some type of talent. That's why they get drafted, right? But it's the ones who can learn from their coach's study, from their self-study, from their peer study, from their practicing habits, from working on their weaknesses daily, and putting that in the off-season workouts. But then that comes together during the season. Those individuals that can keep doing that yearly and get better and better and better, those guys separate themselves from the average guys, right? From the 3 years to 5 years players who, the average years in the National Football League, those guys separate themselves to be in the Pro Bowlers, the All-Pro players, and then eventually the Hall of Famers. And I think you just want to see the growth in players, and that's what you want to see with Mendoza, is the growth with him. And if he has that growth yearly, and come year 3, man, you're going to have a player.
Rod, let's talk about the host city, Pittsburgh, your Steelers. We're ushering in a new era with Mike McCarthy. Mike Tomlin obviously was there for a very long time, had a lot of success there. But what would you like to see Mike McCarthy and this new Steelers regime do in this draft to get back to the standard that we discussed with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Who's that quarterback?
Good question. Is it Will Howard? Is it going to be somebody new? Is Aaron Rodgers going to make a decision? We don't know yet.
Do you have a problem with the fact that there is no quarterback right now?
I mean, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers has a kind of agreement in his head that, hey, I'm going to sign back, but he's not saying it, and they're not saying it. But if anybody's watched the Steelers play the last several years, has been trying to figure out, okay, since Ben is retired, they haven't had that guy to be the leader at that position. And I think they still need to find it. I think they still need that guy. And even if Aaron comes back, well, who's the future? Mm-hmm. And now, if you believe in Will Howard, then go with the guy. But if not, then you have to really Now, I don't think you should reach for quarterbacks in the draft. I don't think you should reach for any player in the draft if he's not that guy that you really want. But the one thing they do need, and it's been solidified since Ben is retired, they need to find that franchise future quarterback.
We're talking with Rod Woodson, Pro Football Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, pick-6 leader all-time, NFL Alumni Health, launching the new program, Health Lives, here in partnership with Tolo Health. One more from me. Why is Mike Tomlin not the coach of the Steelers anymore?
I think when you've done it as long as he did, and he did it as well as he did, and he can, I know he didn't listen to the naysayers outside the building, but he heard it, right? He heard it. And then not finishing the way they wanted to finish, and then he hears it again. After a while, do you need to? I think, for me, I think he's one of the best coaches ever, right? But they haven't won a playoff game in quite a long time.
Yeah.
Right? They haven't had a losing record, though, since he's been the head coach.
Yeah.
But it's still the Pittsburgh Steelers. They got a bunch of Lombardi trophies in there, and they haven't had one in a while. And I don't know if he felt that, and he just need to move aside personally and say, you know what, I can do that talking on TV thing.
Yeah.
Because he's good now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'll tell you what, when Carnell Lake was coaching here, I came in for like 3 weeks, and Mike Tomlin started talking. He got done. I was like, he walked by me. I said, man, if I could still play,
I'll play for you.
I'll play for you.
Wow.
You got me goosebumps.
Yeah.
I'm ready to run through a wall right now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so the one thing he can do, and the one thing he's going to give the fans who get to watch him on TV weekly, he's going to entertain with the words he used, the way he uses his words, and how he gets people fired up.
Rod, awesome stuff. Thank you so much for the time. We really appreciate it.